golf is an interesting thing where sometimes if you work too hard, if you're too obsessed with it, it can actually make you worse. And
you think that's what
happened.
To me. Is that kind of what happened to Duvall, you think, as well, too? Like, he just got so crazy obsessed, and all of a sudden it started screwing with your mind?
I'm not sure, but there's a lot of guys that get too technical, and that's what happens to me. Like, when I was winning tournaments, I was totally artistic, and I just saw shots, and it was more, I was obsessed with winning as opposed to obsessed with having a perfect golf swing, which, that took hold of me, where I felt like I needed to be perfect, have a perfect golf swing in order to get to that next level. And, in retrospect, I probably didn't.
Right.
I didn't need to. I probably should have stayed with my artistic C shots, pure talent. Not pure talent, because I worked my ass off, like maybe too much in the end, it was almost detrimental. Golf's weird that way. If you get too into it mentally and bogged down mentally, it can make you worse.
I think that's with anything, though. That's why healthy balance, too. I always say you need a break every now and then, because you got to breathe.
Yep.
No matter who you are, you can get burnt.
Mm-hmm.
I know at this point in my career, I know when I start to get burnt. I know I do, because I don't wake up in the morning with the same, I'm excited to go to work today, which 90% of the time, 9 out of 10 days, like, I'm excited to come to the office. And I know when I'm getting a little bit burnt. And as much as I don't want to put it away, when I do put it away for even 2-3 days, go on vacation somewhere, go to Cabo for a couple days, go to Vegas and hang out for a couple days, go hang out with Nonito, or go hang out with my buddy Robert up there, or whatever the case is. Just get away from work for a little bit. Everybody needs that, because that balance of breathing and just knowing, like, the recharging of the batteries, you can continue to go. But people that burn themselves out and burn the candle at both ends, as they say, you're not doing yourself any favors by doing something 70% or 60%. Bobby's here, he does so much filming. Like, if he's sitting there filming and he's just like, I just don't feel like being here right now, guess what? It's not going to turn out so good.
Right.
And I truly believe that you owe people your one. If you can't give them 100% all the time, we know that, but they deserve the best of you. And if you're burnt, that's not the best of you.
Yeah.
And people, to me, whether it be the people that work for JMG, whether it be clients, people deserve the best of me.
I think for an ambitious person, that's actually a skill that you have to learn. You have to learn that balance. It's so important.
But it's hard.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, I know. Because, like, you're continually thinking about, how am I going to win? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? If you can't turn that off once in a while, it's almost like you get fuzzy, right?
Well, I'll tell you what I have learned is that I've learned I don't need to answer everybody right away. And that was the main problem I had, especially when I was selling, because I just wanted to keep selling. Like, it truly is addictive. It's like gambling. Like, you just get addicted to. You get addicted to winning. You get addicted to selling, because you want to stay number one, but it's such a rush when you sell something. It's fun. And as that continues to become an obsession, you become obsessed with being too readily available. And what I found is that I learned to make myself not as available so people didn't get the impression that I was always available. Because when you start immediately responding to people, then they expect that every time that they call you or text you, and that shouldn't be the expectation. Right. But that's what happens. And I think it's the same thing within business too, is that you're expected to work 12 hours every day because that's just what people get used to from you. That doesn't have to be the case. We can do things in a healthy balance in a way that it's even more productive. Mm-hmm. And so for me, not getting to every email, and if people got a problem with that, sorry, man, it is what it is. Just deal with it.
Well, for you, it's a bit of reality because you get so much information. You get so much correspondence, right, from every angle. So,
but you know what? I think other people can do that too. What I would say is that, and even for me, for myself, like, I know if I see a name come across my email, I'm responding to that email as soon as I can. Any partnership, any people that I'm doing business with, I'm responding to that email because they deserve that. But when it comes to the little things, I don't need to respond to, do you like this color scheme for our new social media campaign? Like, I can get to that one later. Sarah probably does not think so.
Sarah's over there like,
Sarah's like, why'd you pick social media? Why didn't you pick the closing department? But the point is that, and the same thing with us. If I send an email, unless you guys are away, I would think that by the end of the day, being realistic, that I would get a response to that. But I say that in the sense of, you know who needs attentiveness right away, but then you learn I can get to these other things later. Even the same thing with voicemails. Hey, so if I said this the other day in the cafeteria, I said, if you're offended that I don't respond to a text from you, then I think that's a you problem, because I don't respond to every single text. And the fact that you think that I should respond to every single text, or that I should respond in like within an hour or something like that, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. You know what I mean? It just goes down to a level of self-respect too. But that took time. It took time for me to say, I don't need to worry about that right now. And when you do that, you can breathe a little bit, to know that not every, like Wexler, for example, is a prime candidate to say that's what he does not do. He's so immediate because he's on top of everything. He answers every call, every voicemail, every text. And he drives himself berserk. And, you know, being the #1 agent in the state of Arizona right now, that comes with a certain level of responsibility. And when you make $4+ million a year, people would say, for that kind of money, you can call me. But that's not the point. Everybody says that until you're in it, and then you still get burnt. It's not about the money. It's about your mentality. And even himself now is realizing you can't function like that for too long. At some point, you start to break. And we have to be disciplining ourselves to know that not everything needs an immediate response that doesn't need an immediate response. Because the more that you continue to have that lifestyle of constant, instant communication, constant worrying about something, your fulfillment of life goes down significantly, because you can never take a minute to be happy, or never take a minute to breathe and put things away and just chill out. That's what I've learned over the past few years, and it's recent. I mean, I used to be a psychopath, and I still kind of am a psychopath, but nowhere near like I used to be.
That's for sure. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you surround yourself with people you trust, so you can now delegate things with
Totally.
service. That's what Anita was saying. Surround himself with people that had his best interest. So it took a lot of that pressure off, that immediate responding and having to know to answer for every question all the time.
And who you trust. Yeah. Whether you're a boxer, whether you're a golfer, whether you're an entrepreneur, or you're in your corporate environment, building the army around you that you trust is so important, and it's very hard.
I was going to say it's hard.
It is hard because you get bad eggs, and you get people that you want to help that you shouldn't have tried to help out in the first place because they can't even help themselves. And that stuff is hard because you're hoping that you can change this person, and you can't. And you spend so much time trying to get them better at doing sales, trying to get them to sell more houses, but in the end, they don't want it. So why do you want it for them? So we force ourselves to try to be this educator of people when we should be educating ourselves in the sense of they're not worth it. I'm not spending any more time with you. I'd rather spend time with somebody that's actually producing lower than you, but they're showing me that they'll put in the effort, the drive, and success to want to be successful. So I think some key components, you know, when you're talking to, again, going back to the champion of the world at 39 years old, that purpose and to be driven for that purpose and putting that first word of discipline behind that purpose, I really believe that that's what separates the great from the good and the good from the average, you know, is being able to have that drive and discipline, but have that purpose behind it. I love that statement that he made today.
I mean, it's just so true.
It's just so true,
right? Like, that is the thing. I mean, that drives almost every successful person.
God, could you imagine, though, that your job is to go out there and beat somebody up?
And hopefully not get beaten up.
Who, by the way, I always look at it, same thing with golf and other sports, too. Not so much football and like American sports, because they're not necessarily competing internationally unless they're on like the highest of the highest levels. But when you look at sports like boxing and golf, and I guess that's true because, you know, there's international players that play in the NBA, international players for the NHL, all that stuff. But when you're fighting at that level, especially a boxer, like I said, you're not fighting the best guy in your town or your state or your country. You're fighting the best guy in somebody else's country who's the second best in the world at what they do. to be that great is incredible, right? I mean, to be that good.
And it's individual too. I mean, there's no nights off, right? Like you can't.
No.
It's like in hockey, maybe you can have a few bad shifts. You have a bad round in boxing and you might be, yeah, or
you're done,
dead, right?
Yeah, you're done.
Exactly.
I mean, to be that on point, and to be that sharp too, because it's that one mistake. It's that one jab you didn't throw. It's the one left you didn't slip. The same thing with Nonito, the guys that fight Nonito. I mean, he's probably got the most dangerous left hook in the history of boxing. You put your hand down for 1 second and that clips you, the night's over.
Yeah.
But that's precision. And that is what really separates the great from the good, is they're just that much better. Just like golf, just like basketball, just like in business. The person that you beat, you might only beat them by one deal. You might only beat them by 200,000 in volume. It's that much that separates those that get the trophy or the belt versus those that don't.
It's a fine line.
Fine line. Well, hey, thanks for joining the Jason Mitchell Show again.
Yeah, you betcha.
Now, for everyone listening, thank you very much. We look forward to bringing on some amazing guests and to continue the discussion from mindset to business to lifestyle. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.